Welcome again, Steemians, and anybody following these videos in this series on the GIMP tutorials. Today we get into part 5. If you hear music in the background, it's because I have Pandora playing. Helps me to focus. So what we're going to do today is create an animated banner, a .gif. We're going to basically use the layers to create the different images and give the illusion that something is in motion on the banner. You've seen these a lot. They get really complex. You can have, maybe 100 layers in some of the more complex banners. But today we're going to keep it pretty simple, just to give you an idea of how to create your own. If you spend more time on it, obviously you can get more in depth and a lot more creativity going on. I think today we're going to go ahead and do a 250 by 250 pixel banner. Pretty popular for the side of blog posts and other sites. But open up your GIMP, go to File, New. We're going to create a new image. We can go with a transparent background. It really doesn't matter. I'm just going to leave the background color on this one because for animated images, the way they're saved is if there's a transparency, it fills it in, usually with white or black, when you compress it and optimize it for animation. So we're going to start with a blank slate here. We'll just keep it pretty simple. What you want to do with your bottom layer, your background layer, is keep it real simple, but generally it's something that you're going to want to show throughout your animation in each of the layers. In this case, again, we'll keep it simple. I'm going to open as layers, and we'll just go ahead and grab the STEEM logo that we used the last time. STEEM 3D, there it is. So we'll create a STEEM logo, and we don't want this to fill the whole layer. So we're going to go to Layer, Scale Layer, and we probably want it to sit kind of in the bottom corner or something, or top corner, somewhere where we can still use a lot of the space for our animation. So in this case, we're going to bring it down to about 1/10 of the size, 25 by 25. Alright, that's too small. Edit, undo, Control Z. Maybe we'll bring it down to like 1/4 of the size. Drawing a blank with my math. 125 divided by 275 by 75. Okay, that's better. Grab our move tool, and let's just go ahead and put this in the corner. I'm actually going to change this background to a black. I think it stands out better, and it's also easier to see what we're doing while we're editing. Matter of fact, let's go like a black to white background. It just looks pretty cool. Again, we're using our blend tool, and it's going to take your foreground to your background color. So we'll just go ahead and do a little effect like this, stretch it out some. It's pretty cool. Okay, going back to our logo, make sure we have it positioned where we want it. Another reason to do the black is it's also easier to see your borders on your image. Okay, click in the background again, get an idea. Kind of like that. It's pretty cool. What we might do is actually animate this STEEM logo too. That's a thought, where it kind of has a almost looks like it's moving. We can do that, or we can just move some text into it here, something. But you play with it, figure it out. Next thing we want to do, remember when we're creating a banner, this is basically most people's first impression of a company, of a business, of an affiliate program, of anything, any kind of online presence. A banner is a great way to get somebody familiar with it and get them comfortable with seeing it. It generally takes statistically about 7 times for somebody to see the same ad before they decide to act on it. Got the Roadrunner on my phone saying meep meep. Alright, so the next thing we're going to do, since we're going to leave that as part of the background, we can actually merge that layer down But for now, I'm going to leave it there in case we change our mind. So I'm going to select that layer, and then we're going to go ahead and put let's put a coin in here. That's what we'll do. We'll merge this down. I'm pretty confident that's what we're going to do. So I'm going to merge that down. We're going to put a coin in here. I created a coin, open as layers, for Steem, just based on, it was a basic Bitcoin coin design, and I replaced that with the Steem logo. So maybe we'll just have this roll across the screen. And this will make it a pretty simple animation. We'll come back to the background and add our text. But if we want it to roll across the screen, we're going to need several layers. So I'm going to start it way off to the side like this. And I'm using my arrows to do precision movements so it doesn't go up and down when I don't want it to go up and down. Maybe we'll put that kind of at the top of the blend line there. Alright, next step, we're going to create a bunch of these layers. So I'm going to right click on this and say duplicate layer. I'll click my arrows on there and move it over, say 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. And we're going to rotate this coin so it gives the illusion that it's rolling. And to do that, this is what we're going to use, is our arbitrary rotation tool here. If you click on this, you see that it brings the a grid in front of it. And you can use this slider or these arrows to change the angle, and you'll see it turns. What I think we're going to do is move it by, increase the angle by about 25 degrees each iteration. So we can make it look as though it's moving pretty quickly. So we'll rotate that. We're going to duplicate it. Grab the next one with our move tool. Move it over. I'm just moving it over about 10 positions each time. And what I might do is just continue this process, move it over 10 places, rotate it 25 degrees until we have it going all the way across the screen or stopping in the middle or something. So I'll probably cut the video so it saves a lot of that time. Okay, so we're just going to keep it simple here. Now that we have all of our coins rolling into the screen here, we've got our arbitrary rotation set. What I ended up doing, you don't want to duplicate a duplicate, because then your size will just grow and it gets crazy. So instead what I did is I went to the original layer and I duplicated it several times here. And each time I'd put the duplicate above the first duplicate and then select each of these layers, do my movements. I went 20 pixels to the right of the previous. So it's going to have a pretty quick motion depending on how much time we set between each layer. Now, if we're going to animate this as it sits, it's going to leave these other coins and the layers behind them still in the screen. So to fix that, what we need to do is duplicate our background layer for each coin. So we'll just right click, duplicate, drag that up your layer window underneath the next coin. And then just repeat that process, duplicating just the original, and you'll see it says copy, copy 1, copy 2, drag that up to the next position. In this case, they'll all correlate because we're doing the same number of backgrounds as we are coins. It's going to make for a little bit bigger file size, but we're not doing a whole lot of, we're not adding a whole lot to this. This is just to get you familiar with the process. There's other ways to cut down on file size as well, which we can discuss later. But let me get this in here. Alright, now let's give you an idea what this is going to look like. First thing, if you want to preview your work throughout the process, you want to start early, like right now, and you go up to your filters, go down to animation, go down here to optimize for GIF, and that's going to go ahead and add timestamps in parentheses to each layer in milliseconds. So here is our optimization, and as you can see over to the right, what it did to the layers it's combining the layers, and it's adding 100 milliseconds between each layer. So that means it's going to go really fast. 1,000 milliseconds is 1 second. So if we come up here and say filters, animation, playback, you'll get another window that starts from the very beginning, and you can just click play. You can see how fast our coin is rolling in there. Now it looks like the coin is flashing in and out, but that's because we haven't merged our coin down to the background, which we'll do next. Probably should have done that step before we started this, but let's go ahead and close that so it's as if it's not optimized yet. And we'll go to each of the matching layers and just merge it down. Merge your coin down to your background. So it'll give it a smoother play. This is another way to cut down on space to the file size. Right click, merge down, all the way down through each of the layers. Okay, so now you should have, if you did it exactly like this, about 6-7 layers. Alright, now if we go back here, filters, animation, optimize for GIF, we'll get that new window again. We can go to filters, animation, and you'll see it already added on the right hand side in your layer window, the milliseconds between each frame. Go down to playback. Now if you give it a playback this time, it actually gives the illusion that there's a coin rolling across the screen. Pretty cool. Rolling pretty quick because we didn't put it real close together, but this is why you put generally a lot of layers into an animation. Also, we can change the timing of that by coming to each of these layers and saying, for example, our background will show for 100 milliseconds. The next one, if you hit right click and edit layer attributes, you can literally come in here and say you want it to show for half a second, so it'll be 500 milliseconds. Click OK. You do that for each of your layers, and you're going to see a difference in how fast it rolls across the screen. You can do this with any image you want to animate, and play with the timing to make sure it looks right to you. Generally, the more advanced banner graphics, animated graphics, have a lot of layers. We're talking dozens. It's probably not uncommon to see like 70 layers in some of them. But we'll do that. We'll change the timing. Come back up here, filters, animation, playback. Now this time when we play it, we should see the coin moving a little bit slower. And there you go. There's your first animated banner. Obviously, you can do the same thing with text. You can do the same thing with images. You can move the Steam logo around. You can have like Steam itself coming off of the Steam logo. Just by playing with the characteristics. It's pretty cool. Again, I merged everything down early. You don't want to do that if you want to change something up, like if you were to have Steam coming out of the Steam logo. You'd still want to be able to keep your Steam logo layer so that you can put filters on that, and then you can merge it down. But for the purpose of keeping this instructional video pretty simple, this is what we have. And the way you save it is the same. I'm actually going to go ahead and save this project as banner 2. Make sure I put it in the right folder here. GIMP tutorials, banner 2, save. Now when you export this, you're going to have some options too. You want to export it not as PNG. You can change this to GIF up here, or you can go down to select by file type. Scroll down and find GIF, select that, and hit export. Now interlace, give comment, as animation. We want to save this as an animation. It'll loop forever if you leave that checked, which means as long as the web page is loaded, it's going to keep looping, keep looping. If you uncheck that, it's only going to go through one iteration. So depending on how you want your banner to display, that's what you want to check that option for. Delay between frames were unspecified. For example, if there's not any milliseconds specified in your layers, you can specify that here. 100 milliseconds is really fast, but you know, set that to your liking. Generally, you'll have all of your milliseconds already in there. Now, another way you can do this is to replace layers instead of combining. You notice we have in parentheses combine after the milliseconds. What it does with replace is it replaces the previous layer instead of combining them, adding them on top of each other. That's another way to make the coin roll without merging the background in every screenshot. So, but anyway, whatever you prefer, go ahead and choose that, and then just export. And what we're going to do is open up our folder. And you'll see we have our banner here. You double click on it and you'll see that it plays out on the web page exactly how you set it to. Notice it didn't keep looping since we unchecked that block, but you have yourself a nice animated banner there. Hope you enjoyed the video. We'll get some more details. You can apply everything you've learned from the previous tutorials, literally put that into this banner, add some text, add a logo, add a face. You can make a person walking, take some stills of yourself one step at a time, whatever you want to do. Get creative.